Everybody, thanks for visiting my YouTube channel. Today I'm here with David Frankel of Annie Mac Mortgage, and we're going to talk about general mortgage questions as well as some specialized that Annie Mac offers. So, David, how are you today?
I'm super, Joe. How are you today?
Not too bad, not too bad. Thanks for asking.
Living the dream, baby.
So, first things first, where does the process start when you contact a lender?
So the most important thing for anyone who's looking to buy a house is to understand what you can afford. Step one is going to be contact a trusted lender like me. When we look at your finances and figure out what you can afford.
Great. And
Okay.
what do you look at when it comes to somebody's finances? Like, what documents are you looking at?
Good question. So I break it down into three buckets. We look at your income, your assets, and your credit. And it depends what loan program you're targeting, but in general, we have to look at those three things. So we will have to pull your credit. We'll have to see where your income is going to come from. Are you a W-2 worker? Do you run your own business? Where are we going to find the income to support the payments for this mortgage? And if assets are needed, if you need a down payment, if you have to down payment and closing costs, how are you going to pay for the costs of the loan?
Okay. All right. So what's involved in the pre-approval process? Like, what documents would you need from me?
It depends. If you have a salary job, let's say first-time home buyer buying a single-family house, you work at you're a factory worker, you're on a W-2, you're salaried, so I'll need your W-2s from the past 2 years. I'll need your most recent pay stubs. I'll need bank statements to show what income, what assets you're going to be using for the purchase. Document those. I need your ID, basic stuff.
And what about salaried workers versus self-employed?
That's a good question, Joe. Good question. This guy. So when you're self-employed, it's a different kind of income calculation. We have to look at your tax returns. If you're self-employed and you have a partnership or a corporation, as opposed to just filing personally on your taxes because you're a sole proprietor, I need to look at tax returns. I need to look at business tax returns if that's appropriate. So it's a different kind of calculation.
There are a couple different phrases that get tossed around in the marketplace. Pre-qualification versus pre-approval.
Yes.
What's the difference? What do I want to do?
You do not want a pre-qualification. It is not worth the paper that it's written on. A pre-qualification is you might get from a standard bank that just, you tell them how much you make, you tell them how much you have, and they say, okay, sounds like you could maybe get a house for this amount of money. And that pre-qualification whoever's giving you that letter has not done any real look at your finances. So pre-approval, on the other hand, the way we use that term, is loan officer like myself, who has looked at your finances, credit, income, assets, run it through our system, and made sure that you actually qualify for the thing we're saying you can buy. We take it a step further at Annie Mac, and we do a pre-underwrite. So we take that information and we send it off to our underwriters, an actual person who is going to review the file and give it the bank's stamp of approval. So that's an extra layer of security that you get when you work with Annie Mac.
Great. So, common misunderstanding I think a lot of people have is that they have to have 20% for a down payment, which today is much more challenging than it was even 5 years ago, because with the average price being $450,000, $500,000, that's like $100,000 that people think that they have to come up with. So that's obviously not the case, right?
No, not the case at all. You can buy a house in some cases with no money down whatsoever.
Wow.
Yeah, so sounds good, right?
Yeah.
Well, the minimum, there are minimums. Personal loan, the minimum is 3% down. FHA, the minimum is 3.5% down. But accessing down payment business programs, and you can end up not having any down payment whatsoever.
Here's a big one.
Yeah. Oh boy.
Does getting pre-approved kill my credit score?
Absolutely not. It does not kill your credit score.
Okay. Is there any consequence at all when I get pre-approved to my credit score?
Honestly, I have to say my experience is no. We can do soft pulls. We also obviously need a hard pull at some point. Usually when you're getting a credit pull from a mortgage lender, it doesn't have a big impact on your credit score. If you have bad credit practices and you're getting your credit pulled, 7, 8, 10, 15 times in a year, then the additional pull could have a negative impact. But generally speaking, if you're taking relatively good care of your credit, one inquiry from a lender is not going to have any adverse effect.
Now, pre-approvals have a lifespan of 90 days, correct?
More or less, yeah.
So at the end of that 90 days, if I got to get my pre-approval renewed, is that another hard pull, or is that?
It could be. It depends. If we're using, we can use a soft pull to extend it. Generally speaking, the reason we renew it is because we want to make sure nothing new has happened. We have to renew other documents also. We got to look at your pay stubs again, look at your bank statements, make sure you're still working at your job. So we have to renew these things to make sure that your scenario hasn't changed. But we can do it with a soft pull, and if at that point you're going to make an offer on a house, let's say month 6, like, okay, now I want to make an offer, we should do another hard pull to make sure that the credit works.
All right, great. Guys, please stay with me. We have a bunch of good information coming, so I'm going to keep going with the questions. If you want to pause, but please come back. All right. What factors, the interest rates are constantly fluctuating, as many of you see in the news, right? What factors determine the interest rate that I get?
That is a great question. There's a lot of factors so I'll start with this. In general, the markets affect interest rates. The bond market, stuff you see in the news, CPI, inflation, the war in Iran, things that affect the bond market will affect interest rates in general. Things that affect the rate that you can get are things like your credit score, are things like how much are you putting down, what kind of loan program are you using. So just because you see, and I hear this a lot, like, oh, I saw online that I could get, that someone's, 5.25, blah, blah, blah. It's like, well, okay, you don't know what's in that thing that you saw online. They haven't looked at your credit score. They don't know how much money you're putting down. You don't know what loan program you're going to get. You don't know what extra costs they're saying are associated with that rate. So there's so many different factors that go into a rate. It's really important that you talk to somebody and do the actual application and see what your number is.
Okay. Next question in my mind is, I'm a buyer in today's market.
Mm-hmm.
Interest rates are constantly fluctuating. Should I wait for them to drop to start my search?
Good question. I don't think so. Have you heard of the phrase?
Buy the house, hate the rent. Yes.
Yeah. Have you heard that phrase?
Yes.
Yeah. I believe in that. Yeah. Yeah. You know why?
Why?
Yeah. Because
Edge of my seat.
You are.
Yeah.
This is getting really. Because generally speaking, the prices for homes increases, and you can always refi. The hardest thing to do is actually acquire the house, especially in our market in New England. It's really competitive. Good house, decently priced, in a decent neighborhood there's going to be a bunch of offers. And next year, that same house, you got to think about it. Next year, that same house is going to be worth less. What in the market would make this house worth less next year than what it is now? Generally speaking, that's not happening. But what does happen is you get an opportunity to refinance. So you date the rate, acquire the house, in a year or two, you refinance out of it, and the marginal difference between the rate that you see on paper, oftentimes I think is not worth it. It's not worth losing the house and continuing to rent. Because when you rent, you're just pouring your money into the landlord's pockets. You have nothing to show for it. After 10 years, do the math of what all your rent has accumulated and what you've invested in. And you got nothing to show for it.
All right. So it sounds like the better option is for me to buy, even despite the higher rates.
I think so. Absolutely. Yeah. And almost everyone that has bought a house with me at higher rates, now that house is worth more money. And in some cases, the rates are not as good now as the rate that they had before, just because of the timing of when you bought. So the rate is not something to be afraid of.
My mortgage payment, say it's $2,500 every month.
Mm-hmm.
What's that inclusive of?
Generally speaking, your mortgage payment includes several things. It includes the principal and interest, which is the mortgage itself. Most likely, it includes the taxes that are due on the property, and it includes the insurance that you have to maintain on an annual basis for the property. And it might also include mortgage insurance, depending on how much you put down, depending on what kind of loan you've got.
So on the topic of mortgage insurance, I think a common question in a lot of people's minds is, if I have it, that obviously comes in if I don't put 20% down, right?
That's right.
So once I achieve a certain level of equity in my house, does that go away? Is there any program that allows that, or?
You're eligible. It'll go away at 78% of loan to value ratio, but you need to have an appraisal done. In most cases, you have to have an appraisal done to determine that the value of the house has increased relative to the amount of the debt that you have, so you can get the mortgage insurance taken out.
Okay. I get pre-approved. What should I not do now in order to avoid messing that up? There's some things there you want to say there.
Yeah, there's some things I want to say. Once you're pre-approved, don't do anything. For example,
Without talking to you first.
without talking to me and telling me exactly what you plan to do. For example, don't change a job. I've had people change from a day shift to a night shift, from overtime to no overtime, from all these things, from having a salary job to an hourly job. These changes can absolutely make or break whether or not you can actually get a house. Don't apply for new credit. Don't close old credit cards. Don't pay off collections thinking, oh, I'm cleaning up my debt, ready for the mortgage. Don't touch anything.
Don't pay off collections?
Not necessarily. It might not be the right thing to do, not unless I tell you to pay up the collection. It's got to be part of a plan. When I work with somebody, we look at your credit, we look at your credit profile, we look at income, assets, and credit, and determine what you can do right now. If paying off a collection or paying off a credit card or getting a secure credit card or getting a secure installment loan, if these things are part of a plan, yes. But don't do something without consulting me, because that thing might actually hurt the process.
Well, that's not exactly the answer I was expecting.
I'm sorry.
I'll be honest.
Yeah. Credit is weird. Credit is like but you don't really know. There's certain, you got to be really, really careful, especially with credit. And here's another one, right? Cash. Don't just, you have $5,000 that you got from, that you've been saving from, in a tin can in your house. Don't just dump that into the bank and think you can use it. Cash has to be treated in a very specific way.
Okay. All right. So I can't just show up with a big duffel bag full of cash to the closing?
No, I'm sorry. No, you can't. Is that what you were planning to do? Maybe. You got a duffel bag full of cash? All right, that's cool.
Small one.
Yeah. Yeah, don't do that. So things like that can really change what you're able to do. Yeah.
Okay. Next thing is, how long, if I find something, I'm in contract, how long does it take me to get to the finish line?
It depends. Generally speaking, in our market, we try to close in 30 days. That's a standard. If we need to move faster, there's ways to do that. If we need more time, obviously more time is usually not an issue. But we have closed on purchases or refinances in as few as 10 days, which is definitely the exception, not the rule. But it's possible to make something happen quickly. I would say you plan for 30 days.
Okay. All right. So my next question is, are there any Rhode Island specific loan programs available to buyers right now?
Yes, absolutely. So we partner with Rhode Island Housing to provide $15,000 to $20,000 of down payment assistance to qualified buyers. There's also a $1,000 or $2,000 grant available through Rhode Island Housing, and that's a grant in addition to the $15,000 or $20,000 loan that they provide for assistance. Those, I'd say, are the two most common programs that we use in Rhode Island. We have a couple other community lending programs that we're able to use to assist people who are not first-time home buyers. So maybe you sold your house 2 years ago, you don't qualify as a first-time buyer, or maybe you have a non-occupant co-borrower like your mom or some relative back in New Jersey or California or whatever, who wants to help you as a co-signer. There aren't many down payment assistance programs that allow that, so we can do that here in Rhode Island, across the country.
There's different programs in Rhode Island as well as anywhere, as I assume. So why would I go to Rhode Island Housing versus a mortgage company for a conventional and or FHA loan?
So, good question. Good question, people. Yeah. You gotta trust Joe. He asks the important questions.
You were going to ask, so
Yeah.
I had to
Yeah,
ask.
that's right. He's asking on your behalf.
Uh,
Rhode Island Housing is a great organization, and they're trying to help as many first-time home buyers as they possibly can. So they can't do every single loan for every person who needs one in Rhode Island. There's just too many people. So they allow lenders like us to participate in their programs, and you'll end up with the loan with Rhode Island Housing, but you go through a lender like me, and we use their programs, and their programs can be used for FHA, VA, conventional. You know, you can use their programs for whatever your situation is. That's first-time home buyer.
okay. All right. And define first-time home buyer. I mean,
First-time home buyer generally defined as someone who has not owned an interest in real estate over the past 3 years.
okay.
So if you owned a house 5 years ago and you sold it, and it's been 5 years or over 3 years since you've owned a house, then you're considered a first-time home buyer.
Okay. So even if I've owned a home previously, a period of time goes by, I can once again be considered a first-time buyer.
That's right.
Okay.
You're back in the game.
Cool. Is it harder to get a loan in today's market as, let's say, a year ago?
I don't think so. No, I don't think so. I think it's just a matter of having your documents in order, and doing the math. I don't think it's harder.
Okay. All right. So if I'm ready to buy, just go for it.
I think, yeah, if you want to buy, the most important thing is, what can I afford? The first question, I want to buy a house, but can I buy a house? Can I actually buy something? That's the number one question. And I love you, but you need a loan officer. You may have the best realtor in, New England here to help you, but you need a loan. You need to go to a loan officer and, check the documents, check credit, do the math, and see what you can afford, like on paper. Then, do I want to spend that much money on a house? And then what are the prices, and how, what am I looking for, and what are the prices out there? And that's where Joe will help you. We work together to figure that out.
That's right.
But you give it a shot. You don't know until you try.
Correct. Yeah. I mean, a lot of people have an idea in their head, I won't get approved for enough money, and you don't know until you try.
Absolutely.
So a lot of good information today. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
LeBron.
Okay.
I think a good place for us to finish is AnnieMac, one of many lenders in the marketplace. What do you guys offer that's different from everybody else?
A lot.
Yeah.
Where do I start? First and foremost is, I think, the individual commitment of the lender to the client and to you. Being available, doing the work, making sure that we do the right homework. Conceptually, AnnieMac is really committed to making deals work and really committed to the client experience. So I think those things are really important, even, knowing what are you going to get when you work with a lender in general. Programmatically, we have a lot that I think sets us apart. One of our marquee programs is called Cash to Keys. And with Cash to Keys, we can help a buyer, first-time home buyer. We can help a seller who might be contingent and need the money from their house to buy a new house. We guarantee the performance on the transaction. So we're guaranteeing to whoever's buying that house that we're on the hook in case anything goes wrong with the transaction. And we're able to remove the contingencies that prevent offers from getting accepted, like your home sale contingency, like a finance contingency. We have an appraisal waiver program called Appraisal Assurance, where we can waive appraisals if it's not already generated in the system. We have a program called Rate Relief, which allows sellers to market a very low interest rate on their house to draw attention. So there's a lot of things that we can do that I think separate us and help clients succeed.
Amazing. Well, thank you for your time today.
Thank you, Joe.
David Frankel, everybody, AnnieMac Mortgage, and your favorite realtor, Joe Dias.
Joey D.
All right, so again, thank you. And if you guys have any real estate needs or related questions that I can address, please reach out to me. My number is 639-3163. And if you need any mortgages, here's my man.
Got you covered.
All right, thank you, everybody. Have a good
Thank you.
day.